As Adana reached the beach, she saw the sea deity waiting for her, surrounded by a soft glow. The sea deity spoke to her gently, explaining that he had seen the village's struggles and wanted to help, but there was a condition. The sea deity said, "Adana, I can bring rain to your village and end the famine, but you must agree to sleep with me." Adana felt shocked and confused. Once upon a time, in a small village called Ogede next to a very big sea, there lived a kind lady named Adana. Adana was not like everyone else because she could talk to the sea. She was the village priestess. People in the village came to her when they had problems because she gave good advice and said what the future holds. Every evening, as the sun started to set, Adana would walk down to the sea. She liked to sit on the soft, sandy beach and watch the sea waves. The sea was her friend because she was serving the sea deity, and she felt happy near it. While she sat by the water, Adana would sing beautiful songs. Her voice was soft and lovely, and it floated over the waves. Sometimes, her songs were about the sky and the stars. Sometimes, she sang about the fishes. The sea seemed to listen to Adana's singing. When she sang, the water stayed calm, and sometimes it even sparkled as if it was smiling. One night, Adana went to the edge of the sea, as she often did. But this night was different. She heard a voice, deep and powerful, calling her name from the waves. "Adana," it whispered. She was scared but curious. She stepped closer, and the sea seemed to glow with a strange light. Suddenly, a great sea deity emerged from the water, shining like 1,000 stars. Adana was stunned but not afraid. The sea deity spoke to her kindly, telling her secrets of the deep and sharing its ancient wisdom. As the night passed, they talked and laughed, and Adana felt a bond growing between them. One day, something sad happened in the village. The rain didn't come when it was supposed to, and the sun was very hot every day. The ground became dry, and the plants in the field stopped growing. This made it hard for the villagers to find food. Everyone was worried because their bellies were hungry and the food was getting less and less. This went on for many days and then many weeks. The village was facing a famine, which means there was not enough food for everyone to eat. The villagers tried everything they could to make the plants grow. They watered them with buckets and prayed for rain, but nothing worked. Adana saw how sad and hungry everyone was, and she felt very sorry for them because she was the village priestess. Every evening, she would still go to the sea to sing, but now her songs were about asking the sea for help. She sang with all her heart, hoping the sea would hear her worries and bring some help to her and her village. Even though Adana sang her songs every evening by the sea, something strange happened. The sea seemed quiet and didn't answer like before. No matter how beautifully Adana sang, the sea stayed silent, not sending any help or bringing the rain clouds. Each day, Adana would go to the sea, hoping that this would be the day the sea would listen. But the sky stayed blue and clear, and no rain fell on the village. The plants remained dry and brown, and the food became even less. The villagers were very sad and wondered why the sea wasn't helping them. Adana felt sad too, but she didn't give up. She thought maybe the sea needed more time to hear her songs. So every evening, without fail, Adana continued to sit by the water, singing her songs of hope. She believed that someday, somehow, the sea would hear her and send the help they desperately needed. One morning, while Adana the village priestess was preparing for her daily visit to the sea, there was a knock on her door. It was one of the king's messengers, dressed in bright colors and looking very serious. "Adana, the king has heard of your beautiful songs and your talks with the sea," the messenger said. "He requests your presence at the palace. He needs your help." Adana was surprised and a little nervous. She had never been to the palace before, and she wondered why the king wanted to see her. But she knew it must be something important, so she agreed to go. The palace was a big, grand place, much larger than any house in the village. When Adana arrived, she was led through tall doors into a large room where the king sat on a high throne. He looked worried, and his eyes were kind. "Adana," said the king, "our village is suffering because the rains have not come. I have heard that you can speak with the sea. We need your help. Can you ask the sea to bring us rain?" Adana felt a big responsibility on her shoulders. She knew that everyone in the village was counting on her, and she wanted to help. "Yes, Your Majesty, I will do my best," Adana replied, feeling both scared and hopeful. She promised the king that she would continue to sing and talk to the sea, hoping that it would finally listen and help them all. The king thanked her and asked her to start right away. Adana left the palace and went straight to the sea, ready to sing her most heartfelt songs yet, hoping that this time the sea would hear her pleas and send the rain to save their village. The village priestess Adana went to the sea again, singing her most beautiful and heartfelt songs. She sang about the dry fields, the hungry people in the village, and how much they needed the rain. She hoped that the sea would listen and feel the sadness of the villagers and help them by sending rain. But even with all her singing, the sea still did not answer. The water stayed calm, the waves gently lapping at the shore, but there were no rain clouds in the sky. Days turned into weeks, and still, there was no change. Adana felt very sad and a little bit lost. She wondered why the sea, which had once spoken to her and shared its secrets, now remained silent when they needed help the most. But even though she was sad, Adana didn't give up. She kept visiting the sea and singing, believing that one day the sea would hear her and the villagers' prayers would be answered. The villagers also waited and hoped. They saw how hard the village priestess was trying and they admired her for not giving up. They all hoped together, waiting for the day the sea would finally listen to Adana's beautiful songs and bring the rain to save their village. One sad day, something very sad happened in the village. Adana's father, who was very old and weak, became very ill because there was not enough food to eat. The famine had made it hard for everyone to find enough to eat, and Adana's father couldn't stay strong. Adana, the village priestess, was very sad and worried. She took care of her father as best as she could, giving him whatever little food she had, and sitting by his side every day, holding his hand and talking to him softly. Despite all her care and love, Adana's father grew weaker. One quiet evening, as the sun was setting and the sky was painted with colors of orange and pink, he closed his eyes for the last time. He passed away, leaving Adana and the village in great sorrow. Adana felt a deep sadness in her heart. She missed her father very much. He had always been kind and loving, telling her stories of the sea and teaching her about the nature around them. After her father died, Adana, the village priestess, felt a big change in her heart. She was very sad and upset because the sea deity did not help, even though she had asked many times. She thought about all the songs she sang and all the times she talked to the sea, asking for rain, and how the sea just stayed quiet. Adana decided that she would not make sacrifices to the sea deity anymore. Before, she used to bring drinks, fowl, and special stones to the edge of the water as gifts. She hoped these gifts would make the sea happy and help the village. But now, she felt that these gifts didn't matter because the sea deity did not seem to care about her or the villagers' suffering. She told the villagers, "I will not bring gifts to the sea anymore. The sea has not listened to our pleas for help, and we have lost too much because of it." Some villagers were surprised because they had always seen Adana talking to the sea. But they understood her sadness and supported her decision. They too were feeling hurt and let down. Adana still went to the beach sometimes, but now she went to remember her father and to think about the happy times they shared. She stopped asking the sea for help but hoped, deep down, that someday things might change and the sea would care for them again. For now, she focused on helping her village in other ways, trying to find new solutions to their problems. more sadness came to the village. The king's first son, a young boy who was loved by everyone, became very sick because there was not enough food. The famine was still hurting everyone in the village. The king and his family tried everything to make the prince better, but nothing worked. The villagers felt very sad and worried because they loved the prince very much. He was kind and always had a smile for everyone. One quiet morning, the prince did not wake up. The whole village felt a deep sadness. The king was very sad and cried for his son. Everyone in the village came to say goodbye to the prince, and they all shared the king's sadness. Because Adana had stopped offering sacrifices to the sea, some people in the village wondered if this was why the sea did not help them anymore. They thought maybe the sea was angry because there were no more gifts like before. But Adana believed that it wasn't right to keep giving sacrifices if the sea would not answer their calls for help. She was very sad about the prince and her father. As Adana worked hard to help her village without depending on the sea, the king sent for her again. He wanted to talk to her about the sea and the village's troubles. The messenger came to Adana's house, where she was sorting through seeds to plant in the dry soil. "Adana, the king wants to see you again," the messenger said kindly. "He hopes you can help the village by talking to the sea deity once more." Adana felt a mix of emotions. She knew the king was very sad about his son, just like she was sad about her father. But she also felt unsure about going back to the sea deity. She remembered how the sea had stayed silent when they needed help before. Still, Adana wanted to help her village in any way she could. So, she agreed to go to the palace and talk to the king. When she arrived at the palace, the king welcomed her with a sad smile. "Adana, I know you have tried your best to help the village," he said gently. "But we are still in trouble. Many people are hungry, and we need the sea's help." He asked Adana to go back to the sea and ask the sea deity for help once more. The king hoped that this time, the sea would listen and send rain to save the village. Adana listened carefully to the king's words. She understood his worry and sadness. But she also felt unsure about going back to the sea after everything that had happened. She didn't want to disappoint the king or her village, but she also didn't want to rely on something that had let them down before. Adana thought for a moment, her brow furrowed in thought. She knew she had a difficult decision to make. Should she go back to the sea and ask for help once more, or should she find another way to save her village? As Adana pondered her decision, she felt very unsure. She didn't know what to do to help her village. That night, as she lay in her bed, she had a strange dream. In her dream, the sea deity appeared to her, shimmering and glowing with a gentle light. The sea deity's voice was soft and soothing, like the sound of waves washing against the shore. "Adana," the sea deity said, "come to the sea. There is something I must show you." Adana felt both surprised and afraid. She didn't know if she should trust the sea deity after everything that had happened. But the sea deity's voice was kind, and Adana felt a strange sense of peace wash over her. When she woke up the next morning, Adana knew what she had to do. She had to go to the sea and see what the sea deity wanted to show her. She felt a mixture of nervousness and curiosity as she set out for the beach, wondering what awaited her there. As Adana reached the beach, she saw the sea deity waiting for her, surrounded by a soft glow. The sea deity spoke to her gently, explaining that he had seen the village's struggles and wanted to help, but there was a condition. The sea deity said, "Adana, I can bring rain to your village and end the famine, but you must agree to sleep with me." Adana felt shocked and confused. She knew that this was a big decision, and she didn't know what to do. She felt torn between her desire to help her village and her discomfort with the sea deity's request. She asked the sea deity why he needed her to do this. The sea deity explained that it was the only way he could help, and that he had taken a liking to her and wanted to be close to her. Adana felt conflicted. She wanted to help her village more than anything, but she also felt uneasy about the sea deity's request. She needed time to think about what to do. She promised the sea deity that she would give him an answer soon and left the beach, feeling troubled and unsure of what to do next. After much thought, Adana made a difficult decision. She decided to accept the sea deity's condition and sleep with him to bring rain to her village and end the famine. She knew it was a big sacrifice, but she loved her community so much that she was willing to do whatever it took to help them as the village priestess. As time passed, the sea deity kept his promise, and rain finally came to the village. The crops began to grow again, and the people rejoiced. They were grateful to Adana for her bravery and sacrifice. 9 months later, something wonderful happened. Adana gave birth to a baby boy, and she named him Obina. He was a handsome and special child, with eyes as deep as the ocean and a smile that could light up the darkest day. The villagers saw Obina as a gift from the sea deity, a symbol of hope and renewal for their community. They celebrated his birth with joy and gratitude, knowing that he would grow up to be someone very important to them. Adana held her son close, feeling overwhelmed with love and happiness. She knew that even though she had made a difficult choice, it had been worth it to see her village thrive again. And as she looked into Obina's eyes, she knew that he would bring even more blessings to their lives in the years to come. And so, with little Obina in her arms, Adana felt a sense of peace and hope wash over her. She knew that their village had faced many challenges, but she believed that they would overcome them together. But little did they know, another trial was on the horizon, lurking in the shadows. Something was about to strike the village again, something that would test their courage and strength once more. As Adana gazed at her precious son, she couldn't shake the feeling that he would play a crucial role in their village's future. Little did they know, Obina would grow up to be their savior, the one who would lead them through the darkest of times and into the light once more. But what challenges lay ahead, and how would Obina rise to meet them? Only time would tell. Watch out for part 2.